Welcome to the UKRunChat Podcast. I'm Michelle, and in this episode, I'm joined by Mel Bound. Now, Mel is the founder and CEO of This Woman Runs, which is one of the world's largest women's running communities. What began with a simple Facebook post asking for a running buddy has grown into a movement supporting tens of thousands of women across the UK, helping women discover the benefits of movement and community. Mel, welcome to the podcast. It's really nice to have you on.
Thank you so much for having me. It's absolutely lovely to meet you and looking forward to chatting today.
Oh, so let's start with your running story then. Now, you've been running for quite a while, haven't you? Because you started because of childhood asthma. Is that right?
Yeah. So I sometimes think that I met the first social prescriber with my GP. So I started running when I was I think I was about 7 or 8, and I had really chronic asthma. And my GP, I think for the 70s, this is pretty forward thinking. I'm just showing my age there. But he basically said to my mum, the best thing you can do for her is get her outside and running. And that will make her lungs stronger and will help her just manage kind of her asthma, and hopefully things will start to settle down and improve.
That's really forward thinking, isn't it?
Yeah, forward thinking. Wow. And I know. And so my mum took that very seriously, obviously, and off I trundled to the local running club and various other things as well. And I discovered, the best way of describing it for me was I discovered the absolute joy and freedom of running. As a really young kid, that was, I'd been slightly bullied because I was the weird, wheezy kid, and I don't know that I felt that I really fitted in at primary school. And suddenly I had this superpower that I was, not only did I love, but I wasn't bad at. And I went from being the kind of slightly bullied kid to the kid that was, always picked first for the school sports day relay team, and just absolutely loved it. And I've got one of my earliest memories of running actually is a kind of a local. It's like a fun run in my local village, and in my head it was about 20 miles. It was probably about half a mile. I remember kind of being on the start line and that feeling of butterflies that you get, even now. And then kind of setting off. I was in my kind of blue velour shorts that were very kind of on trend in the 80s, and heading off, and just that feeling of kind of flying and freedom and just feeling really happy. And also, that feeling of really challenging your body. Like I really felt that my body was working hard and really enjoyed that feeling. And that was the start of a very long love affair with running. So it kind of became something that really defined most of my kind of childhood, teens, something I did for fun. I wasn't really competing, but it just was my happy space, my head space, what I would go out and do when I got home from school. I'd go for a run in the woods, and I absolutely loved it. Fast forward to 2014, I had 2 young kids. And I don't know how many of your listeners out there might relate to this, but I suddenly went from someone that had all the time in the world to go for a run whenever I fancied it, to suddenly having absolutely zero time, no energy, very sleep deprived. And I'd also had a surgery on my back. I'd fallen, I had a little stumble out running, and I'd slipped a disc in my back, and that ended up needing surgery. And so I went from being someone that absolutely identified as a runner to doing absolutely nothing for about 3 or 4 years. And wondering whether I would ever run again. That was genuinely how I felt at the time. I just couldn't work out how to get back to it. Yeah, it was really tough.
Like a bit of a kind of a change of identity almost, isn't it, when you lose running? Yeah.
And to be honest, that's where all of this started, because I with kind of a lot of, I'll call it gentle encouragement, but I had a personal trainer at the time that was supporting me through my rehab after my surgery. And she kept kind of saying to me, "Are you going to go out for a run again? Are you, we've done the strength work, you've done the core work, your back is really strong." And I kept saying no. And then in the end, she said, "Why don't you just put a post on Facebook and try and find someone locally that could only go out, once the kids are in bed, that also is a bit knackered and doesn't really have much time and is, lacking in confidence and doesn't have that much fitness anymore." maybe you can find someone that feels the same way and might go for a run with you. And I put that off for ages, and then eventually I did it. And from that post, I put just on a local kind of buying and selling group, Facebook group, 75 women turned up.
Wow.
To meet me.
What was going through your head then when you saw all these women?
I was just, do you know what? Initially, my initial thought was, I wonder where they're all going, because I thought I must have missed some massive event or something, because I didn't in a million years think they were all coming to meet me for a run. It was bonkers. It was absolutely bonkers. And it was November, so it was dark, it was rainy, it was 8:00 at night. And all these women had come out of their house to meet me from a random Facebook post. Like it just was bizarre. But I remember thinking, wow, there are lots of women feeling the same way. That was the overriding feeling. And I think, yes, they'd come out the door for a run, but I don't think, even then, I think I realized it wasn't really about coming for a run. It was, they were looking for connection and a community and other women that felt the same way. And that's what had made them come out of the house and come and meet me. And that is where it all began.
Wow. Yeah. So practically, with that first run, how was it? Like, what did you do with 75 of you?
I had no plan, obviously, because I didn't expect that to happen. So we just sort of went for a run down the main road. It was really unglamorous. And it literally was cars flying past us, splashing us. And we only went for about 10 minutes down the road, and then we went back. But then we stood outside the park and talked for an hour. And there was just this amazing sense of, I found my people. I have found my people. It was amazing, honestly. And I don't think I could have ever imagined then where that would lead. But what we did know, all of us that were there that night, was that we wanted to do it again the next week. We just wanted to do it again because it just felt so good. And so I went home and set up a Facebook group. At the time, I called it This Mum Runs. That's where we started. And yeah, it grew from there.
Wow. So you must have felt so like buoyed up in that moment of having found all these women that needed the same things as you did.
Yeah.
So kind of was it hard for you to get back into running at that point? Did that take some time to get your fitness back up?
To be honest, it was easy from that point. And I think there's once you've got some mates to run with, and people that can run at the same time as you, and also, so that makes it a million times easier already. Yeah. But I think the other thing was that and this was kind of almost by accident that it was designed like this. We didn't put any pressure on ourselves about how far or how fast. And that's still core to our DNA now. So all of our runs are designed around the number of minutes moving. So we'll go for a half an hour run, or we'll go for a 45-minute run. And depending on who's there will impact how far we go. But it just meant that all the pressure was gone. So all the pressure that I had previously put on myself, where, I might rock up to a race and I've got my splits written on my arm. And if I miss them by 30 seconds, I'm really cross with myself. All of that had gone. It had gone. And actually, I think I just was so grateful to have it back in my life, that all the kind of all the pressure that I'd previously put on myself had completely disappeared, and I just was running for the absolute joy of it, which is where I started as a kid. It was just that freedom, that kind of absolute sheer joy of being out and moving. So it bizarrely, having had that long period of time without it, once that moment had happened, it was bizarrely easy to continue.
Yeah. So what were all the women mostly mums like you? Because obviously This Woman Runs began as This Mum Runs. Were they all in a similar situation?
Yeah. So yes, I put the original post on a mums buying and selling group. Okay. Because I thought I just need to find someone that running clubs. The running clubs at the time would run at 6:30, 7 o'clock in the evening, which is exactly when you're putting young children to bed. So I had this idea that if I could find another mum that also couldn't go out at 6:30 o'clock in the evening, that maybe we could find a time that worked for us. So everyone that turned up did have young kids, and so in the kind of actually for the first 7 or 8 years, we were very kind of focused on how do we make this easier for mums that have got very specific demands on their time. You can't not put your kids to bed. You can't not give your kids tea. You can't at the weekend you're running them around to clubs and things. So there's genuine pressures on mum's times, on mum's time. And so the kind of in those early years, it was really about solving those problems for women that had kids. But what kind of happened over time is that we were designing this amazing community, and we exist. We've got digital spaces, but we also have in real life communities that meet in 40 cities around the UK now. And what I realised was actually a lot of the problems that we were trying to solve around confidence, around fear of judgment, around lack of time as well, actually, were actually pretty universal for a lot of women. And that there was something in our name, having mum in our name, that meant that women that didn't have kids felt they couldn't come. And that I started to feel very uncomfortable about that. And especially as we were really trying to create a very inclusive space where all women felt like they could belong. And actually, if women that didn't have kids came along, quite quickly they realised it didn't matter, because the last thing any of us wanted to be doing was talking about our kids. We wanted a break from our kids. Yeah. So the actual kind of experience, once people arrived was irrelevant whether you had children, but the name was off-putting. And so that's why a couple of years ago we changed from This Mum Runs to This Woman Runs.
Yeah, and it's more inclusive to all women.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I mean, I think women do feel barriers to joining like other running clubs, don't they? Like you say, it can be difficult. So when did you realise that this was going to be something bigger than your run with some
I realised that almost straight away, because it just, so not only obviously did a lot of women turn up to that first run, but what happened really quickly was it kind of spread like wildfire in Bristol, which is where I live and where this started. It just took on a life of its own really quickly. And quite quickly I was spending every kind of waking minute when I wasn't looking after my kids or working, responding to women in the Facebook group that I'd set up to support them, to help them to start groups in their part of Bristol, to start running full stop. So in the kind of very early weeks, I think I'd been feeling quite smug is the wrong word, but I'd been feeling like, wow, we're doing something amazing here, and lots of women are coming, and it's really inclusive, and there's no pressure. And then it was probably 2 or 3 months in, one of the women who had joined our digital community but hadn't come along to a session shared a post in the group, and for me this was the big turning point, and this is when I realised, oh, okay, this needs to be something different, and this is where the real need is. And she basically said, I'm a mum of 2, and I've spent the last 20 years sitting on the sofa drinking wine and not moving, basically. Does anyone feel the same? And I really, I love the feeling that this community has, but I don't feel like I can come along because I literally can't run for a bus. And I distinctly remember when this post came in, because I was putting my son to bed and my laptop was out on the landing, and I could hear all of these notifications on the Facebook group. And I was thinking, what the hell is going on? And when I opened my laptop, there were hundreds of replies to this post with women saying, yeah, I feel exactly like that as well. I love being part of this group. I can't take part. And initially I was gutted, because I just thought, that's terrible. We've created this space and there are all these women that feel like they can't join in. And then one of the women said, oh, I know, let's get a book from the library about learning to run, and we'll go and meet in the park, and we'll figure it out. We'll figure out how to do it. And I just thought, hang on a minute, I'm sure I think we could probably do something better than that.
Yeah.
And so I basically, this was in the very early days of Couch to 5K actually, and I'm not even sure it was in an app at this time. But I basically said, okay, I'll take a group of you that are willing to commit to 10 weeks, turning up once a week, and I'll help you go from 0 to feeling like you can run 5K, and then you can start coming to our sessions. And so that's what we did. And honestly, that group, there was 20 women that came along, and I think all of us went through just a massive personal transformation in those 10 weeks. So the women, that didn't think they could run, had never run, suddenly could. But I also went through a transformation of, oh, wow, this is how hard it really is for women who've never done it before. So I'd had the benefit of this has been in my life forever, and I've just stopped for a bit because my life's too busy. But for those women that came to that program, they had never done it. They didn't believe they could do it, and they didn't know where to start. And so going on that journey with them was so transformative for me, because I just thought there are other women that feel this way, and I want to build something that's for them, so that mainly so they feel like they can come to the weekly sessions. I want to give them a pathway in so they get the joy of turning up every week and taking part. And that was really, for me, that was really the start of it. And
wow.
Yeah.
What a gift for them. That's incredible, Mel.
And for me as well, honestly, and for me, because I think, it's completely changed my life, because 6 months later, I quit my job and went all in on trying to figure out, how do we take what had started in that kind of outside the park in Bristol and build something that we could literally put anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
That was kind of my ambition. Like, how do we design I don't even know if I knew what it was at the time, an experience that women turn up to every week that helps the women, like, the Annika who put the first post, and that group of women that turned up for that first Couch to 5K group. How do we build something for them and put it wherever in the world it's needed? That's kind of where it started.
Yeah. So is Annika still running now?
Do you know what? I don't think she is. If she's listening, Annika, I'm coming back for you.
Yeah, let us know, Annika. We'd love to hear.
Yeah, she did for a long time. She actually became one of our volunteers. She also became one of our run coaches. So we evolved our Couch to 5K into our own beginner program, which is called Run 30. And we trained a team of coaches called Run Makers, and Annika was one of the original Run Makers. So she, then took on the responsibility of taking women on that journey as well. Then pesky COVID got in the way, so that's basically what happened for a lot of women, isn't it? So so that's where we lost her, I think.
Yeah, that was tough. We were all stuck at home trying to do the schooling and working, and yeah, it was tough, wasn't it?
It was horrific. Yeah.
So, COVID aside,
yeah,
we don't talk about that anymore, do we? It's traumatic for many. So how did this movement kind of expand then? Because it's huge now. You have such a lot of communities, don't you, all across the UK. You've got an app. You've got this huge digital online community as well. How did you go about setting all that up and putting the infrastructure in place?
So I think it's fair to say we did it really badly at first, because it didn't exist anywhere else, and I'd never done it before, and we were figuring it out. And so we tried stuff. We made loads of mistakes. We were kind of building with the community. So we were doing a lot of talking to the women that had joined, that were in the digital space, that were interested in becoming volunteers, and helping us turn this into something that was an actual thing that we delivered every week and could be scaled. One of the first things we did actually was the working title for this project was Project Rockstar. Right. And so we figured out that the only way we could grow it, first of all, the only way we could make it sustainable in Bristol, but then the only way we could take it elsewhere was through volunteers. And so Project Rockstar was about how do we grow an amazing, like a volunteer army, basically. How do we recruit amazing women to be volunteers in our community? What does a good volunteer look like? How do we train them? How do we make sure that they know how to lead a session in the way that we want a session delivered? But how do we get them to really understand the women that they're supporting, the women that might not come along it might take them months to pluck up the courage to come along?
Yeah.
How do we get them to understand that? So we spent a long time thinking about that training process. In the really early days, this will make you laugh, but we when we first launched a community outside of Bristol, the first one was in London, and we would drive up and down up and Jack down to London with my TV in the back of the car, delivering these training sessions. So we'd like find cafes that would give us a space for free, and then we'd invite local women that were interested in finding out more about what we did and becoming volunteers. We'd literally go and set up camp and deliver a session and train groups of women to be volunteers. And obviously that was amazing. It was amazing. And I wish in a lot of ways, I wish we still could do it like that, but it obviously wasn't very scalable. So
very time consuming on your part. Yeah.
So eventually we kind of then moved that onto, okay, well, we need to make that online. And what does that look like? So that kind of whole volunteer bit, we spent a lot of time thinking about and co-designing with women in our community and testing stuff and, you know, all of that. And that's still core to absolutely everything we do. And I'd say we did a pretty good job of that, by the way. But the bit that we didn't do a very good job of initially was that we scaled far too quickly. So because there was so much interest from women, we built a big digital community all over the country, all over the world, actually. And so we had women saying, "Will you set up groups in our where we are?" We were like, "Yeah, okay. Well, let's just train a few volunteers and off we go." And actually, I blame COVID for this as well, actually, because over COVID we massively grew. So we at the start of COVID, I think we had 4 or 5 communities in different cities, and at the end of COVID, we had nearly 60.
Wow! Yeah,
so it went nuts. And we couldn't keep up with demand, and we were training volunteers like crazy. And which was, on the one hand, was brilliant because we did a lot of work over COVID, joking aside, we did a lot of work keeping women moving in various different ways, not in groups, not in kind of sessions that we were leading, but just through the kind of initiatives and things we were running through our digital communities. But it was way too quick. And so we didn't have the right systems, we didn't have the right kind of processes, the right policies, all the boring stuff. We didn't have in place. And so although we had a very big network, the experiences were a little bit inconsistent. That when sessions were happening, we're all over the place. And so the last 18 months, we've done this massive piece of work where I'd say this is kind of like where we're really I kind of liken this to building a cathedral. So what we spent the last 18 months doing, probably the last decade doing, really, if I'm honest, and everything we've learned, is building the foundations and really getting the foundations right. So that started with a massive national listening exercise where we went out and spoke to all our community. We listened to our volunteers. We held some volunteer weekends where we invited volunteers from all over the country to come and sit in a room and talk about, how things are going and what they loved and what wasn't working and what did they want for their communities and us, as a kind of wider community. And then off the back of that, we designed a new model that we've been testing in 3 cities, so in Bristol, Northampton and Southampton. We've been testing that for 6 months with a group of amazing volunteers that have gone on that journey with us and have met us every 2 weeks and given us loads of feedback and tested our kind of crazy ideas. And what's come out of it now, 14 years into this journey, is right, this is our model. And we've taken everything we've learned over the last 12, 13 years. We've done a lot of listening and testing in the last year. And now we've got a model that we could literally put anywhere in the world and have real confidence that it will be an amazing experience, that it will, it will launch well. We can support that local team to grow it, that large numbers of women will come along to those sessions and they'll have a brilliant time and come back. So it's been a massive learning journey and lots of mistakes and learnings along the way, I would say.
Yeah. So what's changed then? What can people expect in the future from the groups?
So what the big thing that's changed is, so we basically, I think in our desire to solve all the problems for all the people, we were doing a lot of stuff. So we had sessions happening on a Wednesday night. We had sessions happening on a Sunday morning. We had coached programs. We had an app. We had all sorts of stuff happening through our digital communities. We had a merch store. We had lots of stuff happening. And right at the kind of start of this process, we had to have an honest look at what we thought the main thing was that we do. A bit like Parkrun's main thing is you turn up on Saturday and run 5K. What's our equivalent of that? And let's really focus on that. And so for us, and this has kind of come out of all the learnings and the pilots and everything, it's a free weekly walk and run on Sunday mornings at 8:00. That's our absolute core thing. So all of the kind of peripheral stuff over time will stop, and we'll be absolutely laser focused on supporting women on a Sunday morning at 8:00 to turn up, to walk, run with our Run 30 program, or to run for 30 minutes, supported by our team of trained volunteers. I can't tell you how good that feels for me as well, just to kind of go, that's what we do. I haven't got all these kind of, and we do this, and we do this, and we do this. It's a really simple model, and it will be the same wherever we are in the world. And women can turn up and know exactly what to expect. And there's something amazingly powerful in that, I think.
Yeah. So how many volunteers do you need for each group then, if you're offering these two different things?
To start a group, you need a minimum of 8 volunteers.
Right.
And the kind of core program that they offer is a walk session, a 30-minute run, and a coached Run 30 program. So we ask for 8 volunteers, and 2 of those volunteers we also will train to be run maker coaches, so they can deliver that Run 30 program. And that's the kind of absolute minimum that we need to know that we can deliver that those Sunday morning sessions in a way that feels manageable for the kind of local volunteer team, and that means that we've got a high level of confidence that we can deliver all of those things every single week, 52 weeks of the year.
Yeah, because it's difficult, isn't it? I mean, I've run groups in the past, and when it's just you, it's hard. You do need like a core team. Like this is what Parkrun asks as well, isn't it? You need a core team to get a Parkrun set up. It's so important to have the support,
and also kind of quite kind of clear roles and responsibilities as well. That's one of the things that we've done a lot of work on in the last year. Is like, okay, yes, you're going to have a team of volunteers, but what are they all doing? Let's make sure they've got a really clear. We need someone that's going to manage local social media, for example. We need someone that's going to be a lead volunteer and manage the rota. We need someone that can manage the welcome every week, so that we make sure we're welcoming in a consistent way, exactly like Parkrun in a lot of ways. So we've done a lot of work on figuring out the different roles we need within that volunteer team as well, and making sure that we're giving them the right training and the right tools to be able to do those jobs.
Yeah. So how do you kind of recruit your volunteers then for groups? I'm just thinking there's probably people listening to this podcast who are thinking, I'd love one of these groups in my area. How would they get involved?
The best groups, honestly, the best groups are where exactly as you've just described, someone, discovers us on social media, listens to us on a podcast, whatever, and thinks that sounds amazing. I'd love to set that up in my area. And they contact us, and then we support them to build a little local team, first of all, because that's the first thing they need. Get them trained, support them to launch, and then everything else that goes with us supporting them as a group. And we've tried it the other way around, where we've gone to places and tried to proactively recruit volunteers, but it doesn't work in the same way. You kind of need someone or a little group that kind of go, wow, that sounds amazing, and I want to bring that to my area, and then we support them to do it, basically.
Oh, fantastic. So if you're listening out there and thinking that your area doesn't have a This Woman Runs group yet, but would like one, then do get in touch with Mel. We'll put all the contact details in the show notes.
Definitely. There's a really good section on the website just to say on that kind of explains exactly what goes into having a group in your area, and they can get in touch with Georgie and my team, who's amazing, and she can tell them exactly what they need to do.
Brilliant. So have you noticed, are women still coming to your groups for the same reasons that they were all those years ago?
Yeah. Do you know, I was thinking about this morning, and really how little's changed. Like the same barriers, the same problems, the same fear of judgment, the same confidence issues, the same, like genuinely the same issues with time, the issues with time, the mental load, emotional load, the practical load of work and running a family and looking after elderly relatives and all those things that kind of wrapped into women's lives. It really hasn't changed in all the time we've been doing this. I think what has changed is, for us anyway, is understanding what we do about it and the importance of that kind of feeling of belonging and community and connection, the magic in that. Like we've got so much kind of knowledge now and experience of how powerful that can be and how it trumps all of those barriers. So if women can pluck up the courage to come along, they know that actually none of those things matter.
Yeah, and it's taking that first step, though, isn't it?
God, it's hard.
The hardest. Hard. Yeah.
And also, by the way, so it's interesting because I've got on this. You asked me about my running earlier, and obviously I've run since I was a kid, and then I stopped when I had children, and I've been running really consistently and doing all kind of more and more interesting things with my running as a direct result of being part of the This Woman Runs community and the friends I've made. And so last year I ran Lakeland 50, which was it's totally nuts to me. Even when I was standing on the start line, I didn't believe I could do it, and I did it. But almost a year later to the day, I'm inactive again because I had 3 months ago had a surgery on my shoulder, and it's meant I've actually only just taken the sling off, so I've not been able to do anything, and definitely not been allowed to run. And it's interesting thinking about that again, thinking, wow, I am actually back at the start. But what's different is I'm part of the TWR community. And so I've been going to the Sunday morning walks. I've been staying connected. And I know that I could do the Run 30 program if that might be a way to get back into it. And so it's not a linear journey, is it? This kind of being a runner. It's not a linear journey. Injury, illness, menopause, kids, life, all those things can get in the way and stop us for a period of time. And it can feel really hard to get back to it once you get started again.
Yeah, and I think you're kind of demonstrating there that it's the community, it's the connection that's so important, isn't it, really, in helping you take that first step again. So you fell over, didn't you, on the trail and didn't realise you'd injured your shoulder, is that right?
I fell over. So I already had a frozen shoulder, which I'm blaming menopause for.
Yeah.
So I was already having treatment for a frozen shoulder, and then I tripped out on a route, a kind of tree route, out running, and fell, kind of outstretched arm, and really jarred my shoulder. But because I already had a lot of pain in my shoulder, I didn't actually realise what I'd done. And it was 2 or 3 months before I went to the doctor. And then when I had an MRI, he said, your rotator cuff is in two. It's actually torn in two. And most people would have gone straight to A&E with the pain. And I was like, well, women are hardcore. We just get on with it, don't we? So anyway, a week later, I had surgery, and it's on the mend.
Yeah. So what is the prognosis for you getting back to running then? How long have they said?
I'm really hoping, I'm seeing the physio next week. I'm really hoping I'll get the green light to start doing a bit of running. I've entered something in December as a bit of a something to like a target to work to. I've got a lovely trail marathon in December, so that's my goal, to get back to that.
Oh well, fingers crossed for you.
Yeah, hopefully.
It's awful not being able to do what you love.
It's so awful. It's so awful, especially when you lead a running community, and so my whole feed on social media all the time are people out doing these amazing runs, and the FOMO is massive. But I think I think one of the things I feel lucky about is that I know I'll get back to it. I don't have any doubt that I will get back to it. It's just annoying having to miss out in the meantime.
Yeah. And it gives you a bit of empathy and experience with those that are also doing the same things, doesn't it?
Definitely.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah. So I was quite impressed reading the statistics actually that you've collected around the impact on members, not just physical but mental health as well. They're saying that 96% report an increase, a positive impact on their mental health. That's brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, isn't that just everything? It's I think the whole team is so proud of that because I think it's as a direct result of the focus on zero pressure and just come for a bit of headspace and a bit of time for yourself. And so, the impact of that is absolutely huge on your mental health. And yeah, it's a stat that we're really proud of.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Honestly, you should be really, really proud of yourself. And you are, as we speak, you haven't yet received a very exciting recognition, but by the time this podcast goes live, you will have. So we're allowed to talk about it. Do you want to kind of tell us a little bit about what's happening for you personally next week?
Well, I say this for me personally, but I also will add, I very much see this recognition as something for the whole community and definitely all of our volunteers. But I've received a very exciting letter about 3 weeks ago from the Cabinet Office, letting me know that I will be receiving an OBE in the King's Birthday Honours later this month. So proper snotty crying moment when I opened the letter. But just, intense pride, I think, for everyone that's been part of this journey. And I think for me, it's kind of testament to everything that, so many people have done over the last 12 years to contribute to everything that we achieve as a community. It's amazing recognition. So yeah, get to go to the Palace at some point this year.
Who have you picked? You must have had a lot of people wanting to go with you. You'll have somebody with you.
Imagine if I didn't take my family; they'd literally kill me. So you're allowed to take 3 people. So I'm taking,
nice.
Yeah. And the thing my family what my kids are most excited about is two things. I didn't know this. This happened when you got an OBE or an MBE, but your kids can get married at St Paul's Cathedral, so they're very excited about that.
Oh, I didn't know that either. That's amazing.
How exciting is that? And you can also have a family coat of arms.
Oh, that's got to happen. Yeah, please tell me to make that happen.
There'll probably be a pair of trainers on ours.
Love it. It's got to be, hasn't it? or a race medal.
Exactly. So yeah, it's very bizarre. The whole thing is very bizarre, but like proper pinch me moment. But just amazing recognition for so many people's hard work over the last decade or so.
Yeah, what a fantastic achievement. That's testament, I think, to the impact that you've had, and that somebody or 2 people at least have thought, I'm going to nominate Mel for this. And
if you're listening and it's you, please tell me, because I don't know who nominated me. I would love to know.
Oh, that's lovely. Oh, well, thank you, Mel. It's been lovely chatting to you. What can people expect from This Woman Runs over the next few years? Are you looking to expand further with what you do?
Yes. Yeah, we're just getting started, to be honest with you. So next kind of few months, the focus is on the model that I've just kind of described, the Sunday morning sessions, walk, run 30-minute runs. We're going to be putting that into all of our existing 35 communities around the UK, first step. But then we've got a long list of people that have already been in touch, wanting us to support them to launch communities in their local area. So that's next step. And then starting to think outside the UK as well. So this is very much how do we take what we're doing in the UK and put it wherever in the world it's needed or wanted. So very much just getting started, and watch this space. But for anyone listening that wants to find out where their local community is, then obviously go to our website, thiswomanruns.com. There's a lovely map on there with where all the communities are, and they can link through to the local Facebook groups and join those and find out about local runs. And if there's not a community in your local area already, then as we talked about earlier, just get in touch with us, and we'll tell you all about how we can support you to get that started in your local area as well.
Yeah, brilliant. And for any woman who's listening and wondering whether she should join her first running group or go for a first run, what would you say to her?
Well, I'd obviously say do, and just come, because we'll look after you, and you will literally never look back. In fact, I had a message from someone, one of our volunteers last week, telling me about a woman who'd come along to a session and afterwards had admitted that she'd sat in the car crying, literally shaking with fear before she'd got out and joined the session. Like she almost hadn't been brave enough to do it. And then she managed to get out of the car and join the session. And she said it literally had transformed her life. She just couldn't believe how welcoming it was, how supported she felt, how much, how well the group looked after her, and how she felt like she fitted in. So, if anyone out there is listening and feeling the same way, then just know that you know, if you turn up to one of our sessions, you're going to be looked after, and there will be other women that are feeling exactly the same way, and we'll make sure it's a really amazing experience for you. So just come, and we'll do the rest.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant. Thank you so much for joining us on the UKRunChat podcast.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me.
We'll put all the links in the show notes so you can find out more about This Woman Runs, the Run 30 programmes and opportunities to get involved. If you've enjoyed this episode, please do share it with a friend, leave us a review if you'd like, and don't forget to follow UKRunChat for more conversations from across the running community. Thank you for listening and happy running.